Oh, there it is. Hoo-hoo! Buck Ris, I see a live light. That must mean we're on the air. I got to get used to the studio action here. This is my first actual live hangout. I do hangouts. This Buck Risby here with Health Profits Academy, and I think we have some folks joining us on the line. Yep, yeah, our tech person and hosting person is taking care of it. You Fat's on the line. So welcome to the live Q&A session here with Jon Benson. So John is falling. John, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you
You're
guys
there.
hear me?
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you great.
All right.
John is falling on his sword because we had a little. See, I get to push you onto the sword. But we had a little snafu over the weekend. A bunch of people were really excited about the 3X Sellerator program, and many people came on board, but some people were having some problems. And John said, "Hey, why don't we have a live? I've done this Hangout thing before. It's been very successful. So why don't we just have it an open frame Q&A Hangout? People can get their whether they're investing in Accelerator or not, they can get their questions answered. No holds barred here, John, or you want to keep it
Oh
on
yeah.
on topic?
It's always no holds barred, man. But it's like preferably about the topic of hand. But
Okay,
yeah, feel free to. It's a hangout, so
good.
uh, don't forget your fat. She's down there. She's hanging out with
And
us.
Yufat's here as well. Awesome. I don't even know how many people, as people are coming on the line. I guess it's hard to say who's here, or do we see folks as they're joining here? Okay, we got some folks coming on. So good. Um, oh, okay, and they're popping on.
It's
Okay, so they
speaking
just
by
got the
about a
message.
millisecond. Yeah. So
Yeah.
your fat. Let's just take some questions. Let's yeah. It's basically I'm here to answer you guys' questions. First of all, I want to say I'm really sorry. I know because we have quite a few people that emailed me and said, "Hey, I tried to order, but this weird thing happened." And so let me be utterly transparent with what went on. Our CRM, our customer, yeah, it's CRM, the software that you use like Infusionsoft or Entreport. Well, we use our own, and it completely blew up this weekend. And I'm not lying; it just literally croaked, and it croaked in the middle of this. And it was like, and it still processed like 90% of the orders, but with 10%, it just croaked. And so I spent all day today on the phone with an Infusionsoft tech they're in the process of taking all of our data, which is a lot of it, and migrating it over to Infusionsoft. But frankly, I've always hated Infusionsoft, so I teamed up with Frank Kern's guys, and Frank Kern's guys are going to like kind of walk us through and build custom screens and stuff. So anyway, that's what happened, and it was specifically it was really weird. It only happened in regional places, so we're like, what the heck's going on here? So that's what's going on. And anyway, lucky for you guys that our CRM and Accelerator are on two different servers, so they're not related at all. That's why no one has had any problem with the actual Accelerators itself. So anyway, so I wanted to first of all apologize for anyone that did try to order and couldn't order. And second of all, I wanted to come on and say, hey, we decided. I called Buck or emailed Buck and said, hey, should we do this another day because we were going to take it down yesterday. Because we got, a lot of people were sending in messages saying, hey, just FYI, even on the webinar, a couple of people said that. And I was like, wow, that's really weird. I don't hear that very often. So that's what happened. So apologies. And now I'm going to take your questions. I thought we could do like a little bonus Q&A thing. And if you're on the fence about something, let me know what it is. If you're in and you have questions, let me know what it is. Or if you just want to talk about marketing, we're here for an hour to help you guys out. So let's dive in.
Yeah, and don't be shy. I mean, John is a 5,000. In fact, we were just having a conversation about this, right, John? About projects that you're taking on, and what's going on with your schedule for the coming year, and your rate. You get a $5,000 an hour rate. So treat this as a $5,000 gratis consulting gig with Jon Benson to get any and
Very
all
good.
questions answered about copywriting, marketing, video sales letters. So, Yufat, we got some questions coming on the line.
So hi guys, if you are not familiar with Hangouts, what's really, really cool about Hangouts is that you can actually join us in the Hangout and speak to Jon face to face. I mean, where do you get that? So in order to do that, refresh the page, the link right below the video that says join the Hangout, click that one, and you'll be able to come in here, ask Jon a question, drop off so other people can come in and ask questions. Make sure that you're muted when you come in so that if someone is talking, you're not interfering with them. But then refresh the page, click the button and join us in the Hangout. I mean, this is a lifetime, once in a lifetime opportunity, seriously.
Yeah, there.
So there's one question, John, that
Yeah.
Sunil Kumar, he's from Australia, from Sydney, Australia,
Oh,
and
what's up? Sydney, awesome place.
yeah, he said, "Hi, John and Buck. I have to rush to work. I hope you have the replay. The 3 Accelerator is an annual sub fee or one-time payment. How much is it? Is it for lifetime access? I really got to know, but I'm going to come back and buy it."
Thanks. That's an easy one. It's a one-time access for life, and that's not going to be the case in the next month. We're going to go to a yearly subscription for the same cost. So, in other words, it would cost $29.97 a year, and that's for the VIP package that comes with coaching. So every year it would roll around as $29.97. We've avoided doing that up until now. So I'm not saying that this is a special offer. It's just going to go up. We're just going to change. So what is a special offer is what Buck did for you guys. So what Buck did is he said, "Hey, can you discount this to my list?" And I said, I never discount it, which is true. It's like Ferraris never go on sale, as I jokingly say, but it's true. They don't. So it is the Ferrari of the industry. But Buck said, "Listen, I'll just take whatever you have to out of my commission and give my guys a break." And I was like, "Oh, I've never had anyone do that. Seriously, I've had a lot of major marketers promote this, and no one's ever did that." And I just think that was really cool. So I said, "Dude, I'll tell you what, I will actually match it." So we got you for the $24.97, which is $500 off, and you get the same exact value as you get for the $29.97. And if you do think this is a marketing pitch that you're going to see it tomorrow or the next day or another offer, it's not going to happen unless they do the same thing that Buck did. Which maybe people will catch on, Buck. That's a great idea to do. It's like, and I think that just
I'm glad to be the pioneer because
you are the pioneer.
Yes,
it's a very generous thing to do, man. So thanks. So yeah, you guys, that's a lifetime thing, and so when we go to a yearly thing, you will be grandfathered in, so you will not be billed, which is kind of cool, and you're getting $500 off, which is awesome. And the link is on this side, right? Am I pointing in the right place? That side, right there. You see that? There you go. That's it right there. I'm pointing the right way. I could be pointing into oblivion as far as I know.
on the page where the Hangout is playing, right?
Yes, it should be. I should be pointing right at it right now. Right.
There you go.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So you can click that, and that will take you to the discounted page. So great. Thank you.
Cool.
And yeah. Next question. Yeah, Fat. And people. Hey, we got some people coming on. This is great. We got Engage Media. We have. Yeah. Let me see. We have Dushan coming on. And
so Dushan, unmute yourself. There you go. Dushan?
Hey, Dushan.
Dushan?
Yes, hello.
I can barely hear you.
Yeah, your mic is distant.
Yeah, 1 second. Let me...
Try now.
Yeah, hello.
Well, I can make it out, but go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Let me get this mic set up. I'll get back.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, just stick on with another mic. So we have Engage Media has joined us, I think.
Yes,
is that correct?
So,
okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Looking like it. So Engage Media, unmute yourself. I think it's John Bray.
That's John.
Can you unmute yourself?
John? John, can you unmute yourself? Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. You got it.
So, John, you need to pause the video that you're watching and just join us in the Hangout. Unmute yourself and go ahead, ask your question. There you go.
Hey.
You're unmuted. Go for it.
There you go, John. Go for it.
See, I'm not a fan of Google Hangouts, I'll tell you. This is the very reason why.
You know what? You can go over to the chat widget, I think, on the left and type in your question too, right? Is that right, Yafet?
Yes, that's right.
So if you guys would like to do that, and I know some folks prefer to do chat when they're on with me on this type of thing, just go over to the widget. I think on the left-hand side of your screen, it looks like a little chat blue box, and type your chat in there.
It's not the most intuitive platform, but Yafet she's the expert at this. So, so guys, yeah. So, do we have another question here, Yafet, or can someone type it in, or if somebody wants to brave it and come on? webinar.
So
Well,
I would ask for other people that are probably listening and not really sure what to ask. So I didn't listen to your webinar, but I'm sure that there's a bunch of copywriting questions that people have, before they buy something as sophisticated as the Sellerator. So, John, are there any, like questions that you wish people asked you before they bought the Sellerator? Like, there's a bunch of questions people ask, but is there one thing that, like, if they ask this one, this will be a no-brainer to them?
What would be the one question? Yeah, I would think. Well, there's several, but if I had to pick one question that I wish somebody would ask before they get this, the question would be, is this a push a button and out comes a generic script, like software, like a piece of software? And emphatically, no. This is the software that comes with Sellerator was an afterthought. The course came well before the software. The software I created along with the development team. I used to do coding because I wanted to make the digestion of the materials a lot easier. So when I go through courses, especially a course that's got this much really intense information in it, it's very easy to get lost. It's very easy to pop the DVD in or watch the video and kind of forget about it. But with software that actually guides you through step by step, it makes it a lot easier. And then while we were doing it, I thought, it was literally a lark. I said, hey, is there any way that we could actually build like a PowerPoint and a Keynote file at the same time that we're going through the program? And well, yes, we can. So, and 3 years later, now it's in version 3.0, and it's people. A lot of people buy it just for the utility of the software, that they go through it so they don't have to do all the typing that you would normally do in a Keynote file or a PowerPoint file. And of course, you've got like over 1 million iterations of copy, so you can choose copy on a slide. And if you choose that copy, the next slide intuitively knows that, oh, I chose that copy, so I can use these 19 examples or 5 examples or however many there are. So you can pick and choose, and it's very easy. It's very click and go. But it is not, and nor will it ever be something where you don't have any learning. Even in version 4.0, which you guys will get an upgrade to for free, where we have more intuitive stuff, where we'll ask you questions before and fill in a bunch of blanks for you. Even then, we're going to have videos on every single question so that you're educated and empowered rather than just given some tool that may work on a lark one time if you're lucky. That's not what this is, and that's the reason why this has been the course that a lot of the highest marketers and the most lucrative marketers in the world turn to, as well as a lot of startup guys. And we've done $1.1 billion so far with a B. Not in sales to us, that'd be awesome for my bank account, but we've done $1.1 billion in revenue for our customers that have gone through this program, and that's a lot of money. So it works, and so yeah, that would be the one thing that I would want to get clarity on. That this is a course, and it just so happens to be one of the easiest, most digestible courses out there because of the software. And as you're learning, you're creating, which we talked about on the webinar. I really believe in that model. So rather than learn something conceptually, I'd rather have you learn something and then you click buttons and go, okay, I've learned that. When you hit the button, it actually took what you learned and stuck it into a slide so that when you're done learning, out comes your video sales letter. That's really convenient. So that's really what Sellerator does.
So, John, I have a question. I know we have one coming up here in just a second, but I have a question about that, which is really something that I've experienced in going through courses. Is I'll go through a course and then I'll kind of forget. I've been through it, but I kind of forget how to do it the second time or third time, or maybe there's a period of time between when I've taken it and when I'm going to utilize it. And so, would you say that the software then kind of helps take you back through the process, kind of like in an outline form, to take you back through it without having to go through all the training again?
Yeah, totally. In fact, I'm just going to come over here and I'll just share my screen real quickly and I'll show you guys. So give me 2 seconds here. Just want to make sure I had it up. I do. So, oops, I just clicked off the Google Hangouts. Okay, John. All right, I am going to share.
And I love the concept of learn and execute. You're producing as you're learning, which is very powerful.
Yeah, I agree. So you guys see my screen now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So what Buck was talking about is like if you come up over here and I'm just clicking different sections here. So I click the benefit formula. So if I wanted to come back through and I'd forgotten, okay, it's now been 3 months since I wrote my last VSL. What is the benefit formula? Well, you got the 3-minute video here that will briefly tell you what it is, but you also have on every single section you have an overview page, and it will tell you the slides to create, and then of course it gives you all the copy here. So that's pretty powerful, and it gives you a whole library of power words, power phrases, things that we use and that we know work really well. So that's on every single slide. On every single slide, literally one slide at a time, you have this kind of tutorial. So yeah, it's very difficult to forget when you've got it all spelled out like this. And we went kind of crazy when we spelled it all out. I mean, if you look at like this is just for the product, the very first of the pitch for the product. All these little sections need to be in there, and so or at least most of them. And so I want to make sure that you put them in there, and not only put them in there, but there's an order to this. So one of the things that I think is really, it's almost sacrosanct for me, is the order in which this stuff comes in. So I'm a big believer in having the structure done. So rather than just guessing at it, you don't have to guess at it, and that's awesome. So yeah, and so that's, if anyone's got any questions about anything interface-wise, by the way, it's all modular. So just in case I wouldn't show anybody this, but the software is very cool. It's very modular. You can use this on you can use it on an iPhone. You can use it on a pad. I use it on a pad all the time. So we've made it. It was completely it's modular. It's completely
Oh, I love it. I
responsive.
live on my iPad when I'm out on the deck or on the sofa with the wife or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a responsive design from the word go. Yeah.
Good. So I think Deshaun might be ready if we want to take him live. Deshaun, you want to go ahead and unmute yourself if you can hear us?
Hey, Deshaun.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, perfect.
Okay,
Perfect.
John and Buck and thank you kindly for the opportunity. I just wonder, what suggestions would you have to turn the script into a story?
Yeah, a script in the story. Can you be more specific?
Like the script that's generated,
Mhm.
I'd like it to turn it into an animation.
Oh, we do that all the time. So for example, let me just talk briefly about animation. Are you talking about like an animated VSL?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Yeah, so some of the top converting offers out there that I've written or have gone through Sellerator, or they animate the VSL.
Yes.
But this is very important. Your words have to be down first. So one of the biggest mistakes people make is they animate before they test. So we always test to make sure we have good, solid conversions before we spend a dime on animation. And then from there, here's what happens. Let me just go back to share my screen again. So I apologize, guys. We're just going to go back and forth here. So if you come over here and I click this and I say, I want to print all the slides in the letter, this is what I would send to the animator, or this is what I would put into any sort of print file that I want to use. This button, this click right here, would output to PowerPoint or Keynote. Both of them are printable. So if I click this right here, you'll notice it's going to open up in a whole new slide. Open up in a whole new window, and it's exporting all the copy of my deal. So right here is what I would give. Here we got all. This is my entire VSL. So I would just take this, cut and paste, and send that to the animator. So then, or I just paste it into a Word document and say, and then I could actually script it out and say storyboard it, right? So yeah, that's basically what we do with
John, do you occasionally throw some creative brief notes in there in various sections if you're trying to get a specific point across?
I do. I mean, I like to use animators that are really clever. I mean, that's their job. But it's like if there's something I know that I need, like I want to animate a specific point, and I can tell you this from our testing. This is across lots of different fields. That if you animate the first minute and then you animate anything in the tutorial section, like let me explain how XYZ works, and you animate that. And then you come back in and you animate near the end of so right when the pitch is done, you animate right after the testimonials or right before the pitch, either one of those. You can get your animation down to 3 to 5 minutes versus 45 minutes. Save yourself a lot of money, and it gives virtually the same results. So
wow, that's a huge savings, because I know we were paying, I think, between $200 and $300 per finished minute. I've heard some people charge upwards of $1,000 per finished minute, so that's a huge savings.
Yeah, I've never heard it that cheap, so that's really cheap. Yeah.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks, Deshaun.
There's a question on in the comments actually coming from Ryan Johnson. Before I ask it though, guys, PC Rogers said that he doesn't feel like he can come in because he doesn't have a camera. It doesn't matter as long as you have a working microphone and we can hear you. Jump in, ask us any questions that you want. I mean,
Mic only is just fine. That's happy to be shy. Sometimes I, my hair's not ready, so I turn off the camera. No, no problem.
Right, so the question is from Ryan Johnson, and he says, any advice on writing a script for an MLM presentation for herbal weight loss product?
Yeah, so you're wanting to recruit, you're wanting to build your, what do they call it? I forget.
Downline.
The downline. Thank you. I don't know the terminology for that. So if you're wanting to build your downline, it's like making a sale. So the only thing that you're wanting to do is instead of doing a pitch for money, you do a pitch to join the downline, right? So the psychology is the same. We have a lot of MLM guys that go through Sellerator. In fact, one of the largest MLM companies approached me at TNC, Traffic Conversions, and said, we need to put this in our, just train our guys on this because it's just perfect for MLM. So yeah, it's the same art of persuasion. So what's really cool is if you have a product that you're trying to get people in your downline, you need to educate them on what the product is. 9 times out of 10, especially with MLM. So this is the VSLs are just made for educational tools. I mean, you don't even suspect the pitch coming. Even today, with VSLs doing $12 billion in a year in revenue online, people still see it and they're not sure. And the reason why I think that is because a lot of content's delivered in this fashion. So yeah, it's perfect for MLM. Really
What
strong.
you just said was so important. You said education, and this is really what people buy, right? They're not buying the sales pitch and stuff like that. They buy the story and the education why they need a product, and that's a very hard thing to do on your own without a system like what you have.
Yeah, it's very difficult, and I think it's difficult for people to write a story without hearing somebody else walk them through, like, here's the formula for the story. Like, that's just been the big thing for a lot of people. A lot of people just don't realize how to tell a story. This is not something that you learn. And the best way to tell a story is to sell something. Because you can learn how to tell a story, but if you don't know how to tell a story that psychologically sets the user up to keep wanting more and opens one loop and closes another and does all this psychological stuff, then it's not going to be an effective sales tool.
Yeah, you basically created a window to your own brain, how you think. So it's kind of like you can hire John for $5,000 and get the way he thinks, or you can purchase the software and just get exactly the way he thinks about your topic.
Yeah, $5,000 an hour. So yeah, yeah, $100,000 a letter.
Well, I'm gonna say that there's actually another big benefit of having to go through that course and obviously use the course to generate VSLs, but you're learning at the same time very valuable copywriting principles that can be applied outside of producing a VSL, whether it's in your email copy or other communication that you're sending. You'll just sort of be in that frame of mind where you're starting to make things more interesting. You're starting to utilize stories, and I find myself doing that often as well. So many people find that they haven't found quite yet the book or the core seminar or whatever it is to learn copywriting, but it's obviously one of the top skills you want to have as a marketer. Even though your passion might be developing products, it might be doing some other things in the business. This is something I think it's really worth everyone getting that skill set. So again, I really go back to that, going through that training. Obviously utilizing the software to produce this, but then I think there's these other side benefits that you're going to get from getting this core set of skills.
Yeah, and also when we throw on top of the fact that we do walk through how to create a product in 28 days, for example, how to get more traffic. So that's an awesome bonus. There's 10 hours of traffic training in here. It's things that every marketer needs to know, and it's just been the reason why I've been able to do that is I was a major product creator and still am on ClickBank, a lot of fitness and health products primarily. In fact, 99% of my products are fitness and health. But so we create products very quickly, but very high quality products. So I figured out a formula to do that. There's a 7-day ebook formula that I have in the 28-day product creation formula. So 7 days to create an ebook, start to finish. So
that's going to be perfect to have as a tripwire type of front end offer for your supplement, for example.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then we got hook and headlines, things like that, things that you're going to need throughout your entire marketing career. They're all in here. The Sellerator was originally built as it was called 3X VSL because it was just for video sales letters. And then we started realizing this is kind of automatic selling. This is it's also accelerated selling, which is where the term Sellerator comes from. It's like we just figured out a way to speed up the selling process. So the fastest way, I'll tell you what, I was talking to Frank Kern today because I'm working on a project with him, and one of his big mantras is he has a thing called customer points, and he's like, the more points you can build, which is he goes through this point system, and one of the high points is how fast can you implement, right? So the faster you can get something from point A to point B, and Eben Pagan's very big on this too, the more money you make. That tends to be the way that things happen. So we created a tool that just allows you to do something infinitely faster than if you did it on your own, but also infinitely better, probably, unless you're a really awesome copywriter or you get really lucky, which can happen, right? But you've got a good blueprint to follow. So
let me just say this because you and I put on this show, so I get to ask a lot of questions more than other people because I want to take advantage of this time with you, Jon. One thing that was I really want people to understand, and you just put the finger on the button, which was acceleration, getting to from point A to point B faster. Is I took out a second trust on my house back 10 years ago. I took a piece of that money and I wrote a check for $15,000 to Gary Halbert. That was my accelerator. Right? Went to a copywriter, paid him $15,000 plus the 5 points, and not everyone is in a position to do that, but my thinking in this and working with you and knowing your background and the products that you've used the Sellerator principles to create is basically replicating what I did for the health profits community. And how could you do that in at a reasonable cost, a very reasonable cost, and have an outcome not just once but have it again and again and again. So I just want to kind of reiterate that point of why it is I'm on the line with Jon right now, is to approximate that what he just said that Frank Kern said is a way you get points with your clients, is to get them successful fast. And selfishly, I want to see you be very successful as fast as possible. So I think we should go ahead and get to Jerry's question. I think he was next on the line, right? Or did he get his question answered?
No, Jon. Oh, Jerry. Jerry, you're okay. Try to unmute, Jerry.
Jerry, can you unmute your line?
No. Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. What was the question, Jerry? What was the question you've had?
Let's see. The question from Jerry was, what would be the thought process to create a product?
The thought process, I go through it in 28 days. So the thought process starts with putting someone in a flow state. So getting to the point to where it's sort of difficult to explain in such a brief period of time, but there's a flow state exercise that I use and really believe in, to where I can literally brainstorm and start talking and write through, like I won't even look at what I'm writing. I'll be recording at the same time, and I'll get these ideas out on paper. And then once I get the ideas out on paper, where I know where my strong points are, what I do, I then suggest running them by a peer group, like a list is ideal, a survey on Facebook. Those are the most ideal. If not that, just get your peers together and say, what do you most want to know about blank? So I always start, the very first thing I do with those questions is start with, what is your most pressing issue when it comes to blank? The most pressing issue. And if you create a product around your customer's most pressing issue, and the chances are they're going to buy the product, I mean, obviously, right? But a lot of times people will start creating a product before they do that. So I'll start brainstorming and start saying, where do I want to go? Like, what area do I want to talk about? Maybe it's weight loss. Maybe it's I want to create a product specifically for men's biceps. I'm just making this up. Then once I get that where I want to go, I'll start asking the questions. What's your most pressing issue concerning building bigger biceps? And the answers will probably surprise you. There probably won't be what you're thinking, and therefore that's going to dictate what you do over the next few days. And after that, I just follow. There's a 10-point checklist that I have that's an outline, and I use that outline to follow for every ebook that I create. And it's pretty straightforward, but it's psychological. I basically took the concepts of sales copy and put it into creating a book. Because why not sell your customer on your ideas equally as strong as you sold them on buying the product? Because then they'll actually absorb the ideas and actually transform their lives. So that's it in a nutshell. That's a very small nutshell, though.
Sounds like a variation of an ask campaign. Is that the right word I'm using?
Yeah. It was sort of like an ask campaign, except with the differential is that you start kind of on your own first. You start in a flow state to figure out where you want to go, what your passions are, and then you go into the asks. And then after that, it goes back to the formula. It goes back to formulaic creation. So
nice.
Yeah.
The next person was John Lilly. John, unmute yourself.
Hey, John.
Hey,
Hey,
how
it's
you
good to
doing,
have you on
Buck?
the line. How's it going? Good to see you.
Doing great. How about yourself?
Looking good.
All right.
How's Virginia?
I'm sorry, say that again?
I said, how's Virginia? How's Alexandria?
Right now, we're under a tornado watch.
Oh, sorry to hear that. You're in my old stomping ground. So, what's your question, sir?
Well, my question was, if somebody has a product that solves different problems, should you prepare a different VSL for each problem solved, or can you put them all into one?
I really recommend a different VSL for each one, at least. And here's how to do it in a more cost-effective way: is you change the first 5 minutes of your VSL. So it's all about solving one thing. And we just did this with a big health product, and their product is like, if you go through this product, it's kind of like an energy healing product but this one actually has clinical trials behind it. It's kind of cool. So if you go through this product and you get multiple doctors, NDs that are endorsing it. If you go through this product, it can really help your healing when it comes to, and they went through cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and I'm like, no one has all those diseases at once. I mean, very few people do, right? But it's the same psychology. It's like no one has X, Y, and Z problems all at the same time. They may have them, but here's the trick. Out of those X, Y, and Z problems, when they wake up in the morning, X, Y, or Z will be the heaviest thing on their mind. And so if you tailor your start of your VSL to say, I'm going to talk to you about something that doctors have discovered that can absolutely help you. I wouldn't use these words because of Google, but or an FTC, but can cure cancer. Now, okay, and the next one, this can cure heart disease. Then the next one can cure diabetes. Now, again, don't use those words, but you get the point that I'm trying to make. So that is so much stronger because you're going to immediately be able to target traffic, to list traffic, to go and say, hey, do you have diabetes? Yes, you're talking directly to me. But then this is something you've got to watch. And then, so you've got a multiple layer funnel going in there, and then within the first 5 minutes, you can talk all about that, and then this video sales are going to almost be the same. You can almost go, well, the good news is it not only works for diabetes, but you're going to want this for probably for your family or friends, because it also helps with heart disease, this, and that's what we did with this particular product, and it worked out really well. Then we just went into the mechanisms of why it cures disease, and by now it's so embedded with diabetes or heart disease or whatever it is that they've got it. That's all they're thinking as they're watching the rest of the VSL.
So in your example, you had one VSL and you focused on one big problem, and then as the VSL went along, you said, but it also does a couple other things?
Exactly. So that way we can just keep the rest of the VSL that way. And what I'll do is if something happens to where that VSL, like let's say I'm making, again, these are just made up examples, sort of made up. This is actually kind of what we did for this one. We didn't use the word cure. But if we had a heart disease and a diabetes and a cancer, and the cancer won, then I would go back into the cancer one and tweak the cancer to be harder at the close. Like, so remember, if you're suffering through cancer, here's what you're going to, so be very specific to cancer. But even when that's not happening, the conversions are so good because you're targeting them right off the bat. So the only other change I would make to a VSL, if you want to go the extra mile, is exactly that, is after the pitch, say I go into this whole thing about, this is in 3X, in the Sellerator program, that I go through a remember thing. Remember, here are the things that we've covered here, and here's why you need to take action. There's 3 R's that I follow, and in that remembrance, I would talk specifically about cancer if it was about cancer, or specifically about heart disease if it was about heart disease.
Well, then, if you want to focus on each of the individual problems that the product addresses, would you put separate VSLs on the same page, or have separate landing pages, or what would you do?
I'd have separate landing pages. I would drive people with specific problems. So like if you had like a generic health site and said, what is if you could say what is the problem we can most help you with, and you had like a pull down menu, or you had picture. I wouldn't have a menu. I would have I would have something that would say watch a video on diabetes, heart disease, cancer, whatever the case may be. But I would drive traffic, list traffic directly to the heart disease one and directly to the cancer one, and just send out emails and just target it directly to that. I mean, the whole idea. What I teach is that you should really only ask your customer to believe one thing. I only want someone to believe one thing. I want them to believe that there's one new mechanism, or one mechanism that they don't know, that can address and solve their problem. And I only want them to concentrate on one thing, their problem. Whether it's the solution of their problem, how big the problem is, whatever it may be, and it's a problem, which is one of the big reasons why a lot of VSLs that talk about this, if you buy this product, it will make you healthy, wealthy, wise, better head of hair, great skin. At some point, you just tune out. You just totally tune out. You don't think, wow, I really want to be healthy and wealthy, but the other stuff I can just kind of do without. Your brain gets real scrambled. So the attention span is so narrow. You want to go right for that one thing. That's a great question.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Good to see you.
Likewise.
So we have a comment from Michael Hearn. He said, "Hey, what's up, John and Beck? I saw the email and I had to stop by and say hi. I don't have any questions, just my highest endorsement to get the 3X Accelerator today. I've been using the 3X formula successfully for years. It works." So that's one testimonial.
Thanks, Michael.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And then there's a question from Franklin Meyer. And he said, "Hi, John and Beck. I'm going to ask my question here, not live." It is live because you're asking. I purchased the 3X Accelerator during our last webinar with you, and I'm very impressed. You mentioned during the last webinar that 3X Accelerator will integrate with eVSL, which is great because I already own that in Camtasia. How does 3X Accelerator integrate with software program like these? Thank you.
Well, actually, what I said is that we're actually talking to the guys that own EasyVSL, and we're going to integrate our software in the future. But for now, it's the same exact thing that you would use EasyVSL for. I mean, you just output the script from Sellerator and pull it directly into EasyVSL. It's really simple, exactly what I showed you a while ago. So if you go into your slides and say print the slides, and that's your script. So EasyVSL has an import feature where you import the slides, and it's that simple. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they also have a way to import a PowerPoint or Keynote file, so you would just export the PowerPoint Keynote file. There you go.
Easy.
It's really that simple. Yeah.
Did Andres or Al have a question? I noticed they were on the board as well. No, you found. Okay.
I don't see them. So Andres and Al, if you have any questions, type them in the chat so we know to let you in.
Okay. Beautiful.
Okay, great. So our next question. Next question.
Well, I have a couple related to I know a couple approaches that I've seen you take with VSLs, John, and one in particular, which is allowing people to have this visual. Part of it is sort of maybe a remembrance of a past pain.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever the words that you're using, and I don't know if you're using a combination of VAK, I guess they call it, visual, auditory, kinesthetic.
Yeah.
In that, are you doing all three to get people to remember a pain? I think one was maybe it was the Omega K supplement where he's remembering his father's having a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I just even though I've not had that personal experience, it almost transported me to be in that the mindset of the child that was remembering that. Maybe it was a 10-year-old.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about that and how important that is in sort of the early stages of your VSL?
Yeah, totally. So first of all, that's modality-based marketing, and it's what I call it. And so visual, audio, kinesthetic. But those are all just modalities, the way that we perceive information and learn things. So so I'm thinking, I'll say a sentence, and I'll give you a great example. It's like, the young boy heard his father scream, and when he felt in his heart was absolutely devastating. The very first thing he thought was, so what I just did is I just did three of the three senses right there. So I did thinking right there. I added the thought. I had a feeling. I had seeing or listening. So there's 4, I think, if I count those right. So that's just off the top of my head. But that's what you want to do because you're appealing to different levels of the brain. You're appealing to different areas of the brain. I'm not going to say see, and then go to feel. I'll intermix them because I don't know my audience. I don't know who's watching, who is a feeler and a seer, who is a visual and a kinesthetic. So oftentimes I'll say, that for example, listening to that really touched him. It really made him feel alive. Okay, so what is that? That is visual. Mm-hmm. Seeing that made him feel, what is that? Kinesthetic. So that's just a way of going about doing the same. It's the same type of learning. And what I use a lot inside of those inductions is some NLP. and NLP is simply just a way to process this. So your subconscious mind is doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you anyway. NLP basically talks more to the subconscious mind than it does the conscious. And I use it in a very simple way. I'm not an NLP master, and people think I am. I've actually gotten calls from guys who are NLP master practitioners saying, "Hey, could you come teach a class?" I'm like, dude, I just studied it. I don't. That's just one of the many tools we use. I don't rely on NLP. But I ended up finding out that I kind of talked in NLP, and as you'll see in the scripts inside Sellerator, I definitely write with a lot of NLP in mind. So what we use is a lot of embedded commands. So so in other words, if I'm talking to Buck right now, I can say, I remember a time when I felt really blah blah blah. Okay, I could say that. Or if I really wanted to get Buck's attention, I could say, Buck, listen to this story and see if it resonates with you. I remember a time. So all I did was listen and see. Right? There's two visuals. There's two different modalities there. Listen and see. And I just gave him a command. I did not ask him, "Hey, would you listen to the story?" I said, "Listen." That's a command. And so when you say remember, it's the same thing. I can say remember and repeat something that you've never heard before, and you'll go, "Oh yeah," because this is the way we're trained. So I can say remember. The square root of pi is not, or whatever. It doesn't matter what you say after that. Your brain is going to. Here's what's funny: is whatever you say after the word remember is a command for them to remember that. So I can say remember and repeat something I said, and that's going to draw that back into their mind. Or I can say remember, without a VSL, your business will die in 5 years. Stats show that. It's not true, but I'm saying, let's say that it was. I wish it was true. But your business will croak in 30 days without a video sales letter. But so that would really get your attention. So I would put the word remember in front of it, even though they don't know it, because it's a command. So those are the techniques that I use to induce those states. And finally, I want to say this: great copy is copy that not only pulls you into the present time. It feels like someone's talking to you rather than at you. It feels like they're having a dialogue. It's also extremely visual. So if I say something, I'll read copy that's kind of blah, 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 and it's like the most amazing thing in the world, and blah, blah. It's just not visual. I mean, so there's no visual elements to it. So I teach a lot of storytelling tactics inside Sellerator, and we pull out visuals. Like we talk about, like, what time of day was it? What was the weather like? What were you wearing? What did it feel? So getting very visual with people. It's like, so that makes a great story. I can take a very ho-hum story and just put a few simple phrases in it that make it much more appealing for people to listen to, and make it much more of a selling tool as well, because you're more engaged. You're more engaged with the story than you would be if it was just told as, kind of the blah 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 style of copy is what I call it. So
there's something that I notice. For example, if I watch a TV show, like my wife and I, sometimes we'll do some mindless TV watching. I'll admit it. Just to decompress and relax, and so we get Hulu, we get Netflix, and we've kind of cut the cable. But we're always looking at Hulu at what shows might be interesting to watch. And when you pick a show, it's sort of like you want to sit there, you want to be entertained, no matter what the premise of the show is, whether it's Scandal or Blacklist or whatever it is the show you're watching. You want to suspend disbelief and kind of go in. Feel not be critical of what's happening in the show, right? Because otherwise you're picking it apart and saying, that would never happen. So what is the equivalent of trying to put somebody into that state of mind in a VSL? Because I would imagine you have to do it pretty early on. Is it what you just described, or are there some other key points that you need to execute to put somebody into that suspension of disbelief?
Yeah, the very first thing that we do inside Sellerator is we walk you through a pattern interrupt and an attention grab. So the very first thing we do is we interrupt the pattern so that we can put something in there that's very interesting. And then the phase of that is the rapport, what we were just talking about, going into a rapport state. So rapport states are very simple to get into, but a lot of people just don't realize the techniques to use to do them. So rapport isn't just about like, look, I feel your pain, I understand where you are. That's one way to build rapport, but another way to build rapport is to tell a story. So, and the reason that works so well, and the reason why storytelling is so difficult for people to really do well without a formula, without a system to follow, it's just very difficult. But the reason why stories work is because it echoes back to a time, and I'm going to give you the secret to why VSLs work. When you were a child, more than likely somebody read something to you while you were going to bed, and that was one of the safest, warmest, most secure feelings that you ever had. And then when you got a little older, if you'll remember, it was like dad wanted or mom wanted you to read along with them, so they would flip the pages in front of you and listen to what's going on. You're reading the words, but somebody else is reading it to you. What is a video sales letter? You're reading the words and somebody else is reading it to you. I am literally putting people into a state where they were the most secure and happy and warm they've ever felt. How many more people do you think will buy when they're in that state? So that was a very clever way and accidental. I didn't start off to do this. I kind of reverse engineered why is this working so well and dove into a lot of psychology and talked to a lot of psychologists. And so one guy said, well, it's kind of like the childhood reading. You know, that's what it echoes back to. So yeah, so that puts you into a prime state to hear a story, which is why stories work in VSL so much better than they work in a sales page. I mean, I think just so much better.
The bedtime story, amazing. Yufat, did we have anyone chime in with some questions they'd like to get answered?
Yes, we do. Actually, when you were talking about parents telling stories to their kids, I keep thinking like, unless you have a mom like me with no imagination that needs to use the VSL to write a bedtime story to her son, so that
Yeah, just play a VSL for Laura next time. Here you go, watch this kid.
Just not a Jon Benson VSL. Very
yeah, yeah, probably.
So two questions. One, can you use? This is my question. You were talking about story writing, and we know now that Google and online selling actually moves to content marketing, and a lot of the content marketing is basically storytelling, short, long, medium, but really knowing how to tell a story. And one of the thoughts was like, can you use VSL in order to write better web copy, not necessarily just a sales letter, but actually start taking your readers through a process online, in emails and in copy on the web that eventually gets them into a VSL.
Totally. One of the techniques I teach in my email course is take the 5 steps of the VSL formula that I teach you and break that into 5 different emails and send out, send the whole story. Now, those are long emails, so what I also teach is, like, if you're afraid of long emails, which I'm not, abbreviate the story, abbreviate it, or send them to a blog post. Say, hey, here's so your step 1 is the pattern interrupt, and so you just interrupt their pattern in that very first email, and say, I'm going to share with them, and then you open the loop. It said, I know that you want to know more about this, and I'll tell you why you should be listening to me in the next email. So I'll talk to you tomorrow. And then, so it's a 5-step. I call it a sales page email. So yeah, the same thing is very applicable for any sales page. I just think it works better to tell a story when you hear voices, when you hear a voice telling it, but it's not the only way that it will work. So yeah, different modalities. Again, some people like to see, some people like to hear.
Awesome. And then the
so go ahead, Yufat.
Franklin is asking another question. He says, in 3 Accelerator, do we spend time in identifying and creating a customer avatar? And if this is not in 3 Accelerator, could you direct me to what you feel is the best resource for this process?
No, we tell you to create a customer avatar, but we can't create one for you because only you know your customers. So the best way to create an avatar is to simply poll your list and say, hey, I just need to get some information from you guys, and I'll give you a gift for doing it. This is the easiest way to do it. Use SurveyMonkey or another survey tool and say, if you'll complete the survey, I'll give you this free book, blah, whatever some bonus book is. And just say, and then you can just ask them. It's like what's your age range, what's your interest, how long have you been doing this, and then you can get a good avatar, male or female. But yeah, that's the only way I know to do an avatar and to get any accurate information.
Awesome. And then Full Forcer. Do you have your microphone?
Yeah, I think he's unmuted, or she.
Hello?
Full?
No? Yes? No?
Full Forcer, can you hear us?
Well, thought so. Yeah.
No? Okay.
Just making noises. So we have 10 more minutes for this valuable time with Jon.
I'm going to take advantage of it. So you mentioned about using obviously the bedtime story brought this to mind because my youngest is 5, she's going to be 6 soon, so I read to her. She loves story time. I mean that probably more so than my older children, but what kind of discussion do you have around the kind of voiceover that you would use, the voice talent that you might use? Mm-hmm. You have a very rich timbre to your voice. You have a great voiceover. So you've done your own voiceovers, I know, Jon, and a lot of your VSLs. What do you recommend there?
Some of the best VSLs ever are read by people without a deep voice, without a radio voice. It doesn't have to be that way. But I really like for most products, especially fitness products, I like an everyman voice, kind of like a guy that sounds like he's just approachable and that reads at a certain pace and a cadence. And good readers, good people that read well for VSLs. They have a cadence and they change their cadence. So what you want that's the most important thing to look for is someone that isn't always talking at the same exact pace, just like what I just did. So therefore, when I talk like this, you see that's how we're used to being talked to. So rather than, and a lot of people will read and they'll just read at a very static pace. So yeah, that's probably the most important. And then obviously we have a new VSL that just came out that's doing real well. E-Factor.
Okay.
It's a diet product, so you can go
Check it out.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be plagiarized, I'm sure. And I hired a guy to do the voiceover for this that has a slight Southern accent, and I wanted to try it to see if it worked.
Wow, that's unusual. Everyone's going Midwestern or Australian or British or something like that.
Usually you want to go Midwestern. Usually you want to go somebody without much of an accent, or that if they do have it, it's very slight.
Mm-hmm.
But the story lent itself to it. It's like, because the pattern interrupt is so odd, and you're just kind of not expecting it, and so it worked. So that's some just.
And that wasn't even a survival VSL.
No, it would work if it was survival VSL. You'd almost want demand a Southern accent, but yeah, not always, but yeah.
I'm going to offend everyone in Tennessee, but you'd want it to be a Tennessee accent, I would think.
I don't know what that sounds like, but probably if it's Southern.
Fantastic.
We got some more questions going here, guys. We got.
We have one question from Jerry, and he's asking about the length. What's the average length to make a VSL not to lose the interest with the prospect?
It doesn't matter. The length is one of the most commonly asked questions, and here the only thing that matters is interest. So if I've got a VSL that's teaching you where to uncover buried treasure, and I say, first I want you to hear a story about my mom, you're going to watch an hour of me talking about my mom. It does not matter. So that being said, you want your buy button to pop in between 18 and 25 minutes, right around in that area, 27 minutes in that area. So before it pops down. And then after that, it doesn't matter if it's only a question of bandwidth. After that, it can go 2 hours. It doesn't really matter. As long as that buy button is there between 18 and 28 minutes, it's your golden. And that's for the average product, by the way. So some products can use shorter VSLs. Like if it's a $7 product, you don't need a 45-minute VSL.
We proved that. The last hangout that you were talking and showing the VSL, the retention was, the entire time. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it didn't change at all. So I know that we just got asked if there's a tool to show where people drop off. Yeah, Wistia is what I use. So upload your VSL to Wistia. Shows exactly where they drop off. It's a good measuring.
Yeah, we use that. That's a great tool. And actually, I think the pricing has gotten much more reasonable. So it's worth. I know a lot of marketers that just run Wistia constantly to keep track of their analytics.
Yeah.
So cool. I know Full Forrester is trying to come in and ask a question and not succeeding. So if you want to type the question in the next 5 minutes, we can probably see it and take it.
Fantastic. How much emphasis, if you would say, from an optimization standpoint, Jon, where you like to put your focus? I would imagine first couple minutes, would you say, constantly redoing, or first 2 to 5 minutes redoing hooks that way, or are there other areas that you would put a lot of focus on to try to improve conversion? What are your optimization secrets, sort of short form?
Top 20 slides, first 20 slides for sure. I mean, I test 10 different variations of the top 20. So you've got the hook, and you got the pattern interrupt, and you got the benefits in the first 20. After that, the story element is very good. So that's harder to test, but that would be another point. Price is the most important variable when you get past that point. So you test price. So you do that, and then that's it. That's really the most important factors. I mean, when I say price, let me be really clear. Mm-hmm. The pitch that leads up to the price, the reason why we have all those steps is very important, because you've got to have people know what the value of the product is, and that you've got to have all the objections covered by the time you introduce the price. So that's when I'm testing something, I'll look at make sure that we have all the objections covered and all those kind of things. So
Great.
yeah.
Can you use and how much do you cover creating upsell VSLs?
So there's a secondary product called the upsell formula that is not included inside 3X. It's not an expensive product, but it's one that I've used to do over 200 million in upsells.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something else. That being said, a lot of people just go through and do the same exact thing, only they use my 5-minute VSL formula inside 3X.
Mm-hmm.
So we've used the 5-minute VSL formula for upsells very successfully. It will work. And I personally like to use a combination of scripting and video sales letter or even live video on upsell just to break the pattern.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what we're doing with eFactor, and it's a video sales letter on every single one of them, and we have 3 upsells. So.
Oh, it's not live video. It's just a straight VSL.
Straight VSL. Yeah.
Okay, great.
There's one last question from Lynn Eckenberg, and she says, "This is a fantastic tool. Thank you so much for building it. What is the best means to gain specific and adequate information from a client in order to create a VSL about a product that is not your own?"
A product that is not your own. So okay, so meaning that you just want more information about more data. So you're writing a VSL for somebody else. Right. Okay. So yeah, just making sure.
Or maybe an affiliate product. Maybe.
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's probably something that like a client intake form might be really good to give to you guys. So I need to put that on the whoops, we should have probably done that. Client intake form, yeah, because most of our customers are product owners, but we do have a substantial amount, I mean, when I talk about numbers, of that do write copy. So as far as getting information, I personally, here's how I do it. I don't even have an intake form. I get the customer on the phone, the client on the phone with me, and I hit record on Skype, and I know that I'm going to get it transcribed, and I'll ask them a series of questions. So the questions always start off like what did you do before this happened? So I always start off with what they did before it happened, and then say, so what was the turning point in your life that made this change? So because again, those are the key things in the story. And then when I get into the product details, I said, rather than getting the product details, I said, what are 3 tips that you could give me right now? And I would specifically ask them, what's the number one thing your customer would want to avoid if they wanted to see success in what you're doing? And what's give me a good tip for them to have a good time doing it, and then okay, so give me a 1, 2, 3, give me a 3 steps to get it done. Like what's the how-to, and then so I would ask them that right off the bat. So they're recording this and they're doing a lot of the writing for you. Of course, you'll dress it up, and then after that, then it's the most important questions are like what's the number one, what's the concerns of your customers face, asking them. Gosh, I mean, I usually do this off the top of my head. So your concerns, your customer concerns, the number one top 3 pain points the product solves, the top 3 pleasures that your product delivers. What would happen if someone did not have this? What's the worst case scenario? And so those are the kind of questions I would ask. But it would probably be a good idea to do a client intake form, so thank you for reminding me of that.
Dushan just says, thank you very much. I'm already in, so congratulations, Dushan. You said, you had a question. When you test, how many viewers do you test for each VSL?
It depends. If I think that I've got a real big winner, I'll send it to my entire list. I mean, why not? It costs me an email. So if I'm buying traffic to it, then that's a different story. I'll set the traffic at $100 a day, $200 a day, something like that, and just test it to see where conversions lie. It just totally depends on what I'm running, and it's easier to test to a list. And I know if it gets an X percentage of list buys, that it's probably going to do Y on cold traffic. Not always, but you can kind of figure that out. So yeah,
great. Well, I know we're up at the top of the hour. I just want to say, Jon, thank you for going above and beyond the call of duty and getting on the call, answering people's questions, answering my questions. What I can say is, and I can attest to this, is that one of the biggest things standing between you, if you're just getting your business off the ground, whether or not you have a great product, a great customer support system in place, even a great funnel structure set up in place, if you don't have this VSL locked in, wired in, you're not going to have success with your business. It's just not going to happen. People are not going to believe you, trust you, pull their wallets out, and buy from you. And so why leave that to chance? And this is the reason why I've invited Jon to share this with you, to share this product. Jon, thank you for bringing this product to market. and having such an impact on the health community. I know you work in a lot of other markets as well, but specifically in the health space, and that's where you came from, and you're fitness expert as well, which you don't really talk about a lot. But thank you for doing that. So everyone, do yourselves a favor. Jon is going to take down tonight the $500 discount that he has graciously extended, because I know he's not offered this ever before. Okay, so this is the lowest price you'll see ever for 3X Sellerator. I know a lot of people on the phone have invested in it. If you haven't, if you're on the fence, just do it. Do yourself a favor. Make the investment. It's going to pay for itself many, many, many times over. Take advantage of it. Jon's offering the 30-day money-back guarantee. There's no risk anyway, and the upside is limitless. So, Jon, is there anything you'd like to say to close this off?
Just one last thing to remember is that, so normally the price that you would see, the $24.97, doesn't come with our one-on-one coaching. So that was the deal that I give, because the normal price is $29.97. So we're going to give you one-on-one coaching anyway. So one-on-one coaching is very, very pricey, and you get 4 sessions. This is not a copywriting coach, because you won't need a copywriting coach, because all the copywriting is there for you. This is a business marketing and implementation coach who will call you personally, and this is not a group call, one-on-one, to, first of all, make damn sure you do this, because I know you. No, I know me. I know me. So it's like, I am a very busy guy. It's like, people have to drag me by the hand sometimes and go, okay, do this. So when I have a coach call at me, I'm going to, okay, I better get on this. Number 2, they will help you find hidden assets. So that's the number 1 testimonial that we get from our clients, is that I didn't know that this money was lying on the table. And it's lying on the table, and it would have just fell between this, or more or less lying on the sofa in between the cushions and stuff. But yeah, they're really good at that. So helping you with funnels, helping you with ideas for that, and then number 3, helping you implement this thing. Like they say, here's what you do next. Have any questions with this? That kind of thing. And so I think the coaching is such a huge benefit. Personally, if I were you, I would use those 4 hours and those 4 calls to ask every business question that I can, because business coaches are expensive. And we just got very fortunate. These are the same coaches, by the way, that work with guys, and I'm not making this up, Tony Robbins. This is the team that we're using. Tony Robbins, Jay Abraham, Chet Holmes when Chet was still alive, and I'm losing the brain.
Robert Kiyosaki, was it?
No, Robert Allen.
Robert Allen, I'm sorry.
Robert Allen, yeah. So 4 awesome freaking people, right? And so yeah, these are really good coaches. So check it out. You get that with your membership, and we're going to double that price. This is again not marketing speak. This is real, because we're taking the same things that you're getting inside of Sellerator. We're going to add one thing to it, and you guys will be able to add this as an option if you want to add to it, and that's what we call our partnership program, to where the VSLs that pass our criteria will be emailed out en masse to one of the largest digital merchants out there, to their affiliates. So how would you like to get a lot of affiliates looking at your VSL, having a potential, not a promise, but potential for them to promote it? So that's what we're bringing to the partnership program. And again, that's not included because we don't have it yet. When we do have it yet, we will certainly include you guys and say, if you want that, the partnership program will be like, it'll probably be like a $997 kind of thing. But the entire price is going to go to $7,500 for the entire thing, between $5,500 and $7,500.
So let me just make sure I got this straight. You're grandfathering them in for that future offer that you're going to have for the Platinum program, and the ability to share their offers with this community.
Well, what we're going to do is we'll give them an offer to there will be a fee for that, like $997.
Right, but an upgrade fee, not a full.
So you're still saving literally thousands of dollars. So we're rolling this. I'm working with one of the top guys on Facebook to roll this out in 2 weeks. Wow. In 2 weeks' time, we're going to go public with this, and the Platinum program is so different because we're basically taking the things that we've given away as bonuses and that we've sold in the past, but we're actually pulling this out, and you guys get all this free with the exception of the actual partnership. But you do get the 3X Copy Posse, and you can promote in the Copy Posse. You can say, "Here's my VSL. Would someone like to promote?"
That's the Facebook group, right?
Yeah, Great. Yeah, so that's what gave me the idea. So you got the product creation. So you need 3 things. You need 3 Ps is what I call them. You need the 3 Ps to make it online. You need a product, you need a pitch, and you need partners. So those are the 3 things. So the product we give you, because that's the 28-day product creation formula. The pitch is completely inside Sellerator, but the pitch isn't just about the sales page. You're going to get a VSL. You can do the sales page directly with the same copy. We give you the email formula video. So there's 7 different email formulas I'll teach you how to use inside the video, so you know exactly how to write every single email. So you get all of that. So you get the email. You get to know exactly your email to your VSL and to your sales page. Done. So that's your pitch, and then the partners. So that right now you can get the partners through the private Facebook group. It's private only, but in the coming days we'll have the ClickBank is who we're working with. So we're fingers crossed on getting that deal signed. But they'll be hopefully promoting this out to some really awesome affiliates. So we got what about all the locked features on the site? I don't know what you mean. Can you be
Jerry? Yeah, what are you referring to? Are you logged into 3Accelerator? Is that what you're referring to?
locked features?
Yes, he says he's logged in and he sees some locked features on the 3Accelerator login.
What you see that's locked? Jerry?
Yeah, I think maybe he's checking.
Okay.
Can you be specific, Jerry? What's locked?
Let me share my screen. Well, I won't be able to see.
Yeah, maybe you can.
Yeah, there should be nothing locked in there, unless did you purchase before this, or did you use this? Did you use the link that we are using now?
No.
Don't know. Okay. So I'll tell you what, Jerry, do me a favor. The email address is support@sellerator.com.
He purchased it before, yeah.
It may not be the bonuses that were listed, so send it an email to support@sellerator.com, and because they will look at your membership and tell you what came in the membership and what didn't. But just tell them you were on the webinar with me tonight, and that I said it was okay to unlock any bonuses that are in there just for being a part of the webinar.
See what happens? You're on the phone with Buck and John, and John is offering all these bonuses that some people didn't even get. So yeah. you got the 4 bonuses that he offered, the bonus that I'm giving, which I'm going to use 3Accelerator to produce a new VSL for one of my dietary supplement products. So I just got the initial wave of contacts so that I can get back in touch with you, so that when I produce the look over my shoulder videos, you'll actually see me go through that entire process using 3Accelerator. Now, it's not going to be a Jon Benson VSL. But
well, it actually is going to be a Jon Benson VSL.
Well, it is, sort of.
I wrote all the copy.
Yeah, I guess it will.
There was a lot of copywriting to go into
that. But yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun with that. I think
answer your question there to just email support, and they'll. Yeah, if you said you purchased 2 days ago, so.
Okay.
Yeah, then you should have that. There should be nothing locked in there. So if you can tell me what it is, I'm kind of curious. Guys, listen. There may be. Because what I did with Buck is because he took his commission off, so I just sent you guys to the normal $24.97, and then we have our customer service manually going in and say, okay, we're going to give you all the coaching. But there may be like 1 or 2 bonuses that come with the $29.97 that I'm just forgot about, and if that's the case, do email support because you guys get all of them.
Okay.
So email
Thank
support,
you, John.
and they'll change the permissions to make sure that you get all of them. Okay.
Yep. No one's excluded. It looks like we have one other person here on the Troy. Did you have a question, Troy? I see your video there.
Troy, do you have a question before we take off?
No? Okay.
So just one thing. This is not a phone call. You have a recording video of John telling you that you have all access to all that stuff. So if anyone questions it, just send them to this video, timestamp this moment, and you see
for Buck's posse. For
Buck's posse.
Everybody.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, John.
And one last thing I actually wanted to say that about the coaches. Previously, when you offered that, John, we got a testimonial from Layla. She said on the first call that she was with one of your coaches, they restructured the way that she is pricing, and she made $2,200 in that one day. So she started the month already paying for the Sellerator, not even writing a Sellerator, just with the one coaching.
Yeah, really close to it. Yeah. So we're asking, where do we get the link for the Hangout video? That's Yafat's job.
Yeah, that's exactly on the page where you're watching us, where you join the Hangout, exactly that same page.
That will have the replay of the video?
Yep.
Yeah, right there. The minute we end the Hangout, the video is available for replay.
Great.
Pretty cool, huh? Yeah.
And I'm not going to be pointing the right direction, but which direction is the link to for people that want to take advantage of the
other direction.
Special offer that's good through tonight? So yeah, your other way. So,
Okay, so I need to answer this question. The Sellerator formula is actually not part of the course. That's the reason why that's locked. So I'm glad that you brought that up. So the Sellerator formula is something that's completely different. But do me a favor, email support and let them email me back. So let me see. Can you? I couldn't read the chat. Email support and Sellerator.com, and I'll take care of it. So just that's the easiest way to do that. So cool.
Okay. Beautiful. Well, Jon, thank you again, sir. And I know people are coming in just after dinner or what have you. If you missed this call, right after we hang up here, the recording's going to be available live, according to Yifat. Thank you, Yifat, very much. She looks like she's in Santorini, all the way from Greece, via Austin. So beautiful. And Jon, I can't thank you enough, sir. This is amazing.
Thank you, Buck. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining us tonight. So, guys, get it.
Click the link if you haven't done so already. Get 3x Sellerator, go home happy, and look forward to hearing from everyone. Look forward to sharing the look over my shoulder training and hearing back from you. If you have any questions regarding 3x Sellerator, of course, support at sellerator.com, Sellerator. Is that right?
That's it.
.com. And thanks again, Jon. Thanks, you, Fat.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.